Thank you for all being here today. Before we get started, I'll make a brief introduction. To my left, your right, all the way to the end is Major Tim Lethbridge. Next to him is Major Darren Hood. Next to Darren is my Undersheriff, Mike Brown. And next to him, the 10th Judicial Circuit State Attorney, Mr. Brian Haas. My name is Paul Blackman, and I'm the Sheriff of Highlands County. Thank you for being here today and showing support not only for the Highlands County Sheriff's Office, but for the citizens of Highlands County, and most of all, our hero, Deputy Sheriff William Gentry. I would like to start by doing a small recap of what brought us here today, and then we'll go from there. On May 6th, 2018, at about 7:45 p.m., the Highlands County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a call in the Placid Lakes area of Lake Placid. This call initially was dispatched as a neighbor dispute between two neighbors where it was alleged that one neighbor had shot another neighbor's cat. Deputy Sheriff William Gentry and his trainee responded to the area and arrived in that area and made contact with the initial complainant. And through a preliminary investigation, it was determined who the parties were involved. Deputy Sheriff Gentry left his trainee at the original complainant's residence, and he walked a short distance between 2 yards over to 234 Baltimore Way Northeast, where he made contact with the other half, or the suspect, in this particular incident. During this conversation, Deputy Sheriff William Gentry made contact with the subject, and during this conversation, he was running his information through our communication center, and he was waiting for information to come back on histories, whether he had valid identification and that sort of thing. Sometime during that conversation, the suspect produced a small caliber handgun and shot Deputy Sheriff Gentry in the head. During that time, simultaneously, the trainee who was across the street at the neighbor's house heard the shots fired and immediately ran towards the residence and took up a place of cover and was calling for Deputy Gentry to respond. She never got a response, and as she was continuing to call out for him, a secondary deputy arrived on scene who was Deputy Sheriff Sutherland, and they both approached the house with weapons drawn in an attempt to make contact. While during this approach, the garage door of the residence, which was closed, started to open, and Deputy Sutherland saw an elderly male attempting to get inside a vehicle and leave the area. He took the subject into custody, and while laying the subject on the ground in the driveway, he was able to, through his peripheral vision, see Deputy Gentry laying in the lanai area, or a screened porch area in front of the residence. They secured the gentleman in the back of a patrol car and immediately administered first aid to Deputy Gentry via what they are trained to do, and called for EMS, who responded very quickly. They transported Deputy Sheriff William Gentry to the Placid Lakes Airport, where he was then in turn flown to Lee Memorial Hospital to receive medical treatment for his injuries. The suspect in this case was then taken into custody and transported here to the Highlands County Sheriff's Office for questioning. As we awaited search warrants for the residence and the property thereof, we called the State Attorney's Office. They arrived on scene and were there with us to assist us through that process throughout the rest of the night. As we've learned, Deputy Sheriff William Gentry's condition while he was at Lee Memorial, the prognosis was not good, so some of our command staff went there to be with his family. We transported William Gentry's family to the hospital over in Lee County, and we sat with them during this process when they were trying to save his life. As of yesterday, at 1:10 p.m., Deputy Sheriff William Gentry was pronounced deceased. The investigation into this incident continues, and we will continue to work on that, as since Deputy Sheriff Gentry has deceased, the suspect's charges have been enhanced, and he is now charged with first-degree murder, and as we speak, the judge is signing that warrant. So that's what's gotten us here to today. I want to take this opportunity to pass along to not only your viewers, but our citizens here in Highlands County what they can do to help us through this and what we can do to help them through the next several days. So these are going to be the services for Deputy Sheriff William Gentry. From today, or actually since yesterday, until Deputy Gentry is laid in his final resting place, the patrol car that you see behind me will be here. And citizens are encouraged to stop by and pay respect if they wish. Again, this vehicle will be here until his final resting place is determined. There is a planned candlelight vigil at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening at Fireman's Field, which is just down the road here at the football field. It will start at 8 o'clock. The citizens, anybody is welcome to come by and take part in that. We will have one of our chaplains say a few words, and anybody who wishes to say anything about Deputy Gentry is welcome to get up and do such. Monday, May 14th, there will be a private visitation for family only. Tuesday, May 15th at 11 a.m. This is important to our citizens here in Highlands County because we certainly do not want to inconvenience anybody, but there will be a law enforcement memorial service for Deputy William Gentry. We expect hundreds of law enforcement officers from around the state and across the nation to be here. That service will be held right down the street here at the Highlands New Sun Center, and I suspect it will cause traffic issues. So if you don't have a reason, if you're not coming downtown Sebring to be a part of the service, I would suggest that you stay away that day to make life easier on yourself. I should state that that time and date is subject to change because I mentioned that Deputy Sheriff Gentry was a hero while here on Earth. He is an organ donor, so his organs are being tested for compatibility, and we are under the impression that they have found a home for his heart as well as his lungs. So that time could change, but as of right now, with our communication with the medical staff at Lee Memorial, they seem to think Tuesday the 15th they can get done what they need to get done. But as of right now, that's where we're going. I'd like to discuss a few minutes what we've done for our members and what we will continue to do for our members and the family of Deputy Sheriff Gentry. We have provided chaplains. We have 5 volunteer chaplains here at the Sheriff's Office, and they are available around the clock, but we have set up a room for our members to come and have one-on-one with the chaplains if needed. We've also provided mental health counselors. We've provided some victim advocates for our members and for the family, and we will continue to do that until the need is no longer there. For those that were directly involved with the incidents, such as the deputies, the police officers, the telecommunicators, the EMS, the airmed pilots, we have provided them a mental health professional out of Lakeland that they can go and visit. We will set up the appointment for them and they can go and visit. And our members that were directly involved, we are requiring that they do that prior to returning to work for their mental health stability. And we recognize that in this career field, that is something that needs to be very strong. I would like to personally thank Sheriff Grady Judd and Sheriff Jerry Demings. They are sending down, starting today, 2 teams. Both teams are critical incident stress management teams, and they have provided those teams for our members to debrief and to talk about the incident and to prepare them for a healthy future so that we can get back to work. What we have done for the families, and this is kind of our tradition, and we will continue to do this, the night of the incident, We provided 2 uniformed deputies to be with Deputy Sheriff William Gentry. It is never our plan in this situation like this to leave him alone. So those 2 deputies, obviously they will change shift every 12 hours, but we will have 2 deputies with him until he is laid in his final resting place. We have also placed uniformed deputies at William's house as well as his family's house, and they are there to provide for the family with anything that they may need over the course of the next few days, and again they will continue that until William is laid to rest. In closing, there's several people and organizations I'd like to thank. Lee County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mike Scott, and the Fort Myers Police Department, who have been really unbelievable. They have been by our deputies' sides over there, as well as the families over there at Lee Memorial Hospital, and they have provided an honor guard to be there the entire time, which is really unbelievable, and I thank them. I'm in debt to them forever for that. I'd like to thank the Florida sheriffs. There's not one single sheriff that hasn't called me and offered his or her condolences and offer of help. We certainly appreciate that. The Florida Sheriff's Association and Steve Casey, who've done an unbelievable job in making sure that our administration here is prepared for what's coming next, so that we can make the family prepared for what's happening next, and make sure Deputy Sheriff Gentry's family is taken care of and that he gets the benefits that are required to come to him. I'd like to thank Attorney General Pam Bondi, who personally sent down 2 victim advocates, one for here at the Sheriff's Office and one that we sent to the Lee Memorial Hospital for families, and then the one that came here for assistance with our members. I'd like to personally thank Governor Rick Scott, who has called me just about every day, not only to check on my well-being, but to check on Deputy Gentry and to make sure that he and his family are taken care of, if there's any needs that they might have, and to offer his condolences, as well as Commissioner Adam Putnam, who continues to call every day to see if there's anything that any of the members here at the Sheriff's Office need, or is there anything that the family might need that he can assist with. So thank those 2 gentlemen for that. And I'd like to also give a special thanks out to Brian Haas and the 10th Judicial Circuit and his team at the State Attorney's Office for everything they've done in this partnership and making sure that we have a successful case, and that Deputy Gentry and his family is very well represented, and that we move forward in a positive direction. I'll take any questions that any of you guys might have, and I'll take a few. So, yes, sir. I believe his question was, the law enforcement memorial on Tuesday the 15th be open to the public? Absolutely. That will be open to the public.
Sheriff, where do you find the strength?
That is exactly where I get my strength from. I will leave that answer up to Mr. Haas. I'm sure that they have a case that they need to look at and see what the evidence is and where the evidence is going to point them. I have every faith in the world in Mr. Haas and all his team that they're going to make the right decision in that choice. If it's left up to me, absolutely, but that decision is not up to me, and I understand that.
Sheriff, can you talk at all about who Deputy Gentry was as a law enforcement officer and as a person?
Well, I can certainly try. I don't know that I could give you specific dates. I probably should have looked at that before I came out. But Deputy Gentry started about 8-9 years ago. Actually, I was a watch commander, and his first squad, yeah, it's going to be hard. His first squad was with me, or his first assignment was with me, and I still remember to this day. I guess I'll always remember it. He was a trainee, and we were out, and Kyle, Lieutenant Albritton, I don't know if he's here today, but he was a K-9 handler, and we went on a track, and for the next 3 days straight, Deputy Gentry aggravated me about how he could become a K-9 handler. But that was just him, and the kind of guy that Deputy Gentry is, or was, he had set that goal that he wanted to be a K-9 handler, and he accomplished that goal very, very quick. He did his career 8-9 years as what we usually get out of a canine here at our organization, and we were looking at retiring that particular canine. So I'd asked William, you know, do you want another dog, or you know, what's going to happen with that? And he said, well, what am I going to tell Ronnie? Ronnie was his canine at the time. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, Ronnie'd have his feelings hurt if I went to work every day and left him at home and took another dog to work. So Deputy Gentry, amazingly enough, made the decision that day that he wasn't going to hurt his dog's feelings. So he retired out of the canine unit and went to be a detective for us for a while. So it was that's just the kind of person that he is, an awesome individual. He'll be very missed, very well missed here. So.
What is something you've learned over the past 48 hours?
Well, I don't know that I learned this over the last 48 hours. It has been driven home that you never know what the next call might bring. You never know when it might be your last or when your number is drawn. So live as you should. Live by those principles that are set forth to us in the Bible, and know that if your number is called, that you're prepared. And I think Deputy Gentry was that type of man. He lived his life the right way, and no doubt in my mind that he's where he needs to be today. So. I'm sorry, sir.
You said that Adam is calling you every day and the governor is calling you every day.
Yes, sir.
Personally.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're very emotionally moved. You know, what is going on inside your brain, and how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. I've got a very strong and capable staff that does a good job of looking after me, and I thank them for that. But it is us sticking together and moving forward that we will take care of each of us, you know, mentally. The physical part of it is very simple, but it's the mental part that I believe is going to catch up with us. And, you know, you get those moments. I had my moment last night where I had the opportunity to sit by myself and just reflect on Deputy Gentry and what he was able to accomplish over his short time here with us at the Highlands County Sheriff's Office, and what he's really accomplished in life. And there are a lot of things that a lot of people in our community won't know, but he was a heck of an artist. I mean, he did some artwork here for us at the Sheriff's Office up in our deputy's room with an American flag and a saying that's unbelievable. He built pool cues, and he would get thousands of dollars for these pool cues that he built. The guy was unbelievably talented and had an artist's eye. And a lot of folks who just think he was just a deputy sheriff and just responded to calls, is really different, a really different individual. As all these folks, we all have our own individual talents, and you know, that lead us and kind of help us away from the law enforcement field. And then we put these uniforms on, and we come to work, and we seem to have a different label or a different mentality, I guess, so to speak. So thank you for that. But that's how we deal with it. Just being by ourselves and for a little while, and then being around others that have like minds to help us through that. So I'll take one more question, and then yes, ma'am.
When Deputy Gentry approached the door, he did not know the suspect.
That is correct. I'm sure when he had made initial contact with the initial complainant, I'm sure they gave him a name, or it could have just been that neighbor. Who knows? We have been to that residence before. In fact, we had arrested that gentleman for having another issue with a neighbor a few years back, where he'd sprayed an elderly gentleman with pepper spray or mace or something of that nature. So we were somewhat familiar, but we didn't go there enough where we were very familiar. And approaching from the back of the residence like he did, because the neighbor's house was on the adjacent street, so he walked through the yards and approached from the back. I don't know that he would have known what house it was until he got around to the front. That is true.
How much more painful does that make this responding to a neighbor dispute?
I don't know that I've got a deputy that's lost his life. I don't know that one is more painful than the other. It's just pretty painful, regardless if it was somebody without a criminal history that killed my deputy or somebody with a criminal history. Thank you guys again for coming out and being here today. It shows your support for our community. I know our community and the citizens that we serve appreciate you and appreciate you coming out here to spread the story of Deputy Sheriff William Gentry. We, as the Sheriff's Office, thank you very much, and if there's anything else that you might need, please don't hesitate to ask us. Thank you again.